everyone, it's another week with another recipe, and today is all about comfort food. So cozy up with a hot cup of something and join me in this delicious experiment. Hi, welcome back. My name is Courtney Morris and I cook history's forgotten recipes. And today we are coming to you from 1897 with comfort food, one of my favorites. So I was perusing archive.org and I came across this church cookbook called The Way to a Man's Heart, which I am still laughing about that would be the name of a church publication, but whatever. Anyways, so this is from the Hill Street Methodist Ladies' Aid Society, and honestly, looking through all the recipes in there actually sound really, really good, so we might be hearing from them again in future videos. So I realized that it is still summer, but it's September, and September in my brain is fall, and all I want is pumpkin spice and chai and sweaters and chilly mornings and cocoa and soup. So that's what kind of mood I am in today. So I found a recipe for potato soup and some brown bread that I'm gonna try while the potato soup cooks. Okay, so I'm first going to chop up my potatoes. It calls for 4 to 5 potatoes. I'm gonna use 5 just for the sheer fact that I have them. One of the things I really like about these older recipes that still kind of blows my mind a little bit is how simple they are. Because we're so used to, in this day and age, oversaturated with sodium, oversaturated with sugar, or even just over-seasoned, period, that I think we forget that our food actually has flavors to them. And when you combine those flavors that naturally occur in the food, it can turn out to be pretty amazing. Once we have all this diced up, it says to put it in the pot and then put our ham hock in with it. Now, it doesn't say ham hock, it says 1 pound bone, and that means a ham hock. Then add water, which is the 2 pints of water. All right, and then it says set to boil. So next it says to scald the onion and then cut it into pieces. Now, scalding is a term usually referred to milk products, but you can scald just about anything. It just means to give it a high heat. And normally I would chop this up and saute it a little bit, but to scald the onion, it's asking me to keep it whole. So let me show you that one. Okay, forgive my camera angles here. My tripod broke and I'm getting a new one. Anyways, melt some butter, make it really hot like you're gonna saute any other vegetable, and stick your onion in whole, and then just let it sit and soak up that delicious butter and let it get brown on all sides. And let me tell you, this smells so good. You're gonna wanna eat it right out of the pan. Then the recipe tells us to just chop it up into rough pieces and stick it in with the rest of the soup and just let it boil. The potato soup is now being timed for 1.5 hours on the stove at a rolling boil, and now I'm going to start on this brown bread. Now, I was thinking, okay, what kind of rolls or toast or something that I could make to go with this, carbs, carbs, and carbs. But I saw this one, and this one specifically said you can use yeast if you want, but everybody who's tried it prefers it without yeast. So I'm gonna try it and see what happens. And it called for 2.5 pounds of brown flour, which is also wholemeal or wheat flour. There's no white flour in this. And I need a teaspoon of carbonate of soda, which is baking soda, 2 teaspoons cream of tartar, and then 1 teaspoon of salt. It says mix with hands. And 2 ounces of drippings. I don't have drippings, but I've got lard, which is pretty much the same thing. All right, and it said to mix it together and then make a nice dough with milk. Doesn't say how much, just until it's of consistency. The recipe said to knead it slightly, which is good because if you work baking soda or powder too much, it gets tough. But I did knead it enough to get the gluten to activate. Okay, so I've got my bread dough here. I kneaded it slightly. It looks like bread dough, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens with baking soda. It says to place in greased bread tins in a hot oven. And so I've got my oven at about 400 degrees. Back then, I think they estimate that a hot oven meant 400 to 450 degrees. I'm gonna err on the side of 400, just because I've never done this recipe before. There's no rising, because it's technically a quick bread. That's what that looks like. And basically it just says bake till done. So I'm gonna keep an eye on this. I'm so excited. My comfort food is done, and if it's any good, which I'm assuming it has to be, you can't screw this up. I've got a lot for dinner tonight, which dinner's in the bag now, which just always makes it good. Let's talk about the bread first. I am so excited how this turned out. It rose, it looks good, it looks like bread. It's heavy, mind you, it's very heavy. Whoops. It's definitely dense, like I would expect a wheat bread with nothing else in it to be. But the rise, though, let's see. Oh, good. That's good. It's definitely a sop bread. I would not have this with a sandwich unless I had to. But for a soup to dip with, you could toast it. And actually, it's bitter enough. It's got that whole wheat bitterness to it where it'd be really good being offset with a sweet jam. Okay, now onto the soup. I did add some pepper at the end because it said to. That is the most basic potato soup you could make. And it's so good. The carrot adds a little sweetness. The potatoes are cooked perfectly. I don't know where the onion went, but I'm sure it added some flavor. And that ham hock, oh, you cannot go wrong with a good ham hock. You know, the more I am doing this, the more I'm starting to realize that we really overthink our food and that we don't take the time to appreciate just the natural beauty of what Mother Nature has given us. From an economical standpoint too, this is pretty darn cheap. You can go down to your local grocery store and get individual items. Like you can buy 1 carrot, and you can buy 1 onion, and you can buy 5 potatoes, and I'm betting you it's gonna cost you under $2. And I'm gonna feed a family of 5 with this, plus the bread. And I am not sad about eating this now. I'm having it again for dinner. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for the support. I'm having so much fun, and I am really enjoying discovering these old recipes. And you know what? Our grandmothers knew what they were doing in the kitchen. Please like and subscribe, hit the little bell notification, leave me a comment, send me an old recipe. If you find one that you want to try, I'll try it out for you. My information's in the description box. I'll leave a link to the recipes as well. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you next week. Bye.